Back home, it's been a seismic week in the world of politics as the fallout continues from that astonishing federal election result. Here to talk it through, the perfect man, former Nationals Minister Peter McGauran. Peter, great to have you back on set here. What have you made of this split and then sort of tentative reconciliation between the Nationals and Liberal Party this week?
Well, the week started off disastrously for the Conservative side of politics and for the National Party itself, but there was more sense prevailing by the end of the week. They're not out of the woods yet, but it looks as though the Liberal Party prepared to, at least in principle, accede to the National Party's four key policy issues.
Were the Nationals too quick to lay out that ultimatum?
Ridiculously so. They had an online meeting on Tuesday, presumably went for a couple of hours at least, but in the past, the National Party, particularly when it was considering breaking the coalition, and I was part and parcel of the party room on both those occasions a long time ago, I hasten to add, and every member had to speak. It was a day-long affair, and through every member being required, without time limit, to put their point of view, it helped everybody reach a sensible and politically viable decision. This was too rushed, and the fallout from it is evidence of it.
So do you get the sense that things in the party room have changed?
Very much so, because remember, it's now been declared that the three grand veterans of the party room, former Prime Ministers Barnaby Joyce, Michael McCormack, and senior veteran Cabinet Minister Darren Chester, all spoke against it. And their views, built over many years of experience and interaction with the Liberals and overcoming issues with the Liberals, should have been heeded.
Do you think they should have understood the new Liberal leader, Susan Lee's position better? You know, they've suffered this disastrous election defeat, many questioning some of the key policies they took into that election as the reason for it. So surely there is time to deliberate and work out the plan going forward.
Agreed, Alex. There should have been ongoing discussions with Susan Lee, reference back to the party room, further consultation, and if the decision had to be made, at least it would have been done in a very considered and inclusive way over a period of time, maybe a week or two even, but to do it all within hours, it would appear, was a complete travesty of the situation.
We saw a succession of former coalition leaders, such as John Howard, who you know very well, come out and talk about how important it was for the coalition to thrash things out together, not separately. How much did that play a part in this sort of slight backtracking we've seen towards the end of the week?
Significantly, but I think the key for the backtracking, as you correctly put it, Alex, was National Party rank and file in the members' own seats would have been telling them, because they're very pragmatic. Yes, they want the National Party to stand alone on issues and to pursue their interests to the greatest extent possible, but they know that the National Party can't win government in its own right, but it can destroy the opportunity of the coalition ever coming to the Treasury benches again. So I think they got a reality check when they went home to their electorates.
And talking about the potential period of time out of power for the coalition, how concerning is that, even if they can reconcile?
Well, mathematically, it's near impossible to win an election in 3 years, but you live in hope in politics. We've seen a giant swing in this election. They will be aiming for a giant swing in the next election. But they were never going to achieve it with two oppositions. Can you imagine, Alex, the fun, the ridicule the government would have had pointing to two shadow treasurers, two ministers, shadow minister for foreign affairs, two rumps. They can't govern themselves. They can't govern the country. So it would have been unending opportunities for the government going forward. That's the sheer reality of modern politics. You must be united and purposeful and self-confident and not be the subject of fun and ridicule.
How do you think the different leaders have come out of it? Is David Littleproud's position safe?
In the short term, yes, but I already see there are some rumblings about him long term. Yes, he's lost some bark in this, to be sure. There's no other way to put it.
Because initially he sounded quite strong. He came out and said, this is our position, these are our non-negotiables, the ball's in your court.
Correct, but he didn't look over the horizon. In politics, the best and most successful operators, Alex, are obviously those who just don't see things one-dimensionally. They are able to see what is the impact of their decisions, not just at the time of the announcement, but in the months and years ahead. And he doesn't yet have that capacity.
It's interesting, actually, because we were talking about John Howard's intervention, and he told the story about the 96 election, I think it was, where the Liberal Party won enough seats to govern in their own right, and he refused to dump the coalition. And he said, sure enough, just a couple of years later, we needed them. So things can change quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was under pressure in 1996 to go it alone. Don't worry, there's plenty of firebrands in the Liberal Party who are anti-coalitionists, but the good leaders control the sentiments, those sentiments within each of the two parties.
Where do they go from here?
Well, they have to work out their own relationship and realise it's a slow rebuild, and it can only be done together and in harmony. And remember, the Nationals have a lot of influence on the Liberal Party in the joint party meeting, particularly when they've got 15 members and the Liberals have only 28. So they'll prevail in many of their objectives anyway.
Yeah, listen, fascinating stuff. There'll be plenty more said about it, I'm sure. We appreciate your time this morning,
Thanks,
Peter.
Alex.
Thank you.